Hey everyone, this is Soul back with another episode of Leak Season, where I pull up a bunch of these leaks and talk a whole lot of smack about it, because that's the vibe and tone that I get from these. I don't look at these with reverence. I don't look at these with a whole lot of pondering of, would this work? Is this great game design? Because they're all fake. And so I'm going to give them that... I'm going to give that their due respect. So if you don't mind, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content. As usual, we're live. We're going to be reacting to some of this stuff with the folks over on chat. Let's get right into it, okay? Let's click over, boop, and get right into some leaks. We begin with this person, Aurelia, right? With a Cataclysm 2 leak. Okay. The new X-Pack is basically Cataclysm 2. Blizzard are treating it to as close as a soft reboot as they can. Complete Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor revamp. Some old quests recycled, but 70% new content has been slowly worked on since 7.3. Lots of zones themed around healing after Cataclysm/BFA, others themed around integrating allied races into the world. Others where new and old conflicts re-emerge. High Mountain Torn in Stone Talon, Scarlet and Undead and Forsaken and Turalian conflict in Lordaeron, Mechanomes in Normagon, Lokmodon rebuilt with the help of the Dark Irons, Mag'har and Vulpera in the Barrens, and so on and so forth. Wait, so... Mag'har and Vulpera, oh, so they just look like they belong in the Barrens. Is that right? It's kind of messed up. Races from Horde and Alliance even help each other in some cases, in line with the theme of Unity for Azeroth plus cross-faction mechanic. More dynamic weather and dynamic events similar to Guild Wars 2. That doesn't tell me anything. Great. They want to make the world feel alive and relevant. Outland, Northrend, Pandaria, etc. was not touched. These days, Chromie Time leveling content. Draenei and Blood Elf zones connected to main continents with flying. Yay! Some revamped zones have been combined into one, like Lordaeron, Barrens, Plaguelands, and etc. So Lordaeron is just like a big, long, thick zone with Tirisfal, Western, and Eastern Plaguelands, because so I'm trying to remember, like, are the Plaguelands Lordaeron territory? I guess I guess they are, considering like Stratholme, Scolomancy, and so on and so forth. Okay. No level cap rise, no leveling for max level players. Well, yes, because you're max level. Anyway, it's intended to let players play how they want. Players who don't care for leveling or open world content can do main storyline, then straight to endgame. Main storyline that spans new zones and some revamp zones, not as lengthy as usual expansion leveling, but still substantial. So it's gonna feel shorter. I guess Shadowlands would be like the closest thing. So it's shorter than Shadowlands questing, but by the time you're done, then you'll hit endgame, which still feels the same anyway. It's just they took out levels to take out levels. That's it. Once main storyline is complete, all quote max level content is unlocked, dungeons, raids, and so on. Each new max level zone has corresponding system similar to a Covenant, with open world content unlocks, cosmetics, upgrades, and etc. So that's called zone content. All zone content has, okay, not all of it, but it has certain world content unlocks, cosmetics, and upgrades. Okay, renown-like progression for each zone, I guess, with lengthy storyline and content, like Covenants. Not a closed choice like in Shadowlands, however, can freely switch between. This isn't making sense. Players are not bound to any. From last I saw, the zones are the Dragon Isles, Undermine, revamped Lordaeron, Akira Nerubian zone beneath Silithus. This dude's like, you know, let's get all the zones that people like. Let's get Dragon Isles and make that one zone. People want the Undermine and a revamped Lordaeron. Oh, that was part of a 925 data mine thing. And hey, let's do the Kingdom of Azrael Nerub too. Anyway, another zone that was still very early in development, and there are other revamped zones geared for max level, but unsure if these are for patch content. This definitely just feels like a kind of a wish fulfillment sort of leak. New characters level. Oh no, this is early level. New characters level through Exile's Reach, and then into revamped Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor, then into new expansion zones. Lordaeron and other revamped areas will double up as early leveling zone and endgame zone. BFA and Shadowlands zones put into Chromie time and are for alt. This sounds way confusing. Let's try this again. New characters, level 1, level through Exile's Reach, so that's 1 through 10. And then into revamped Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor, and then into new expansion zones. Lordaeron and other revamped areas will double up as early leveling zone and endgame zone. BFA and Shadowlands zones put into Chromie time and offer. Yeah, it does make a whole lot of sense to me. Time walking expanded. No longer timed calendar events. Each expansion time walking includes transmogs and cosmetics for spending time in and completing the dungeons and zones of that expansion. New players expected to start right into the new content of the expansion and access this old evergreen content through time walking later. Okay. Again, play how and what you want and be rewarded. Okay. Patch content will use some revamped zones in chunks to tell story. Story back in the world of Warcraft, not just contained to one small corner. Dragonflight leaders are the shepherds of the story, like Bolvar, Khadgar, etc., and the theme is healing and fixing Azeroth. New class, Dragon Tamer. Wow, that's gonna make the dragons really happy. Can tame and temporarily fuse with, and you can tame and fuse with and become a dragon. Can cast Dragonflight themed spells, a mix of hunter and mage aesthetics. Specs include tanks, heals, ranged, DPS, whereas male, obviously. Has dragon themed customization like demon hunters, open to most non-allied races. Oh, why has it got to be non-allied races? Torghast-like system themed around the Emerald Dream and Azeroth's heart deep inside the planet, very early in development. I have nothing, so I'm just gonna name drop it. No new race, but current races class options expanded. More customization, heritage armor, weapons mounts coming for all races. Class skins, people love the whole class skin thing. Like Dark Rangers, Mecha Shamans, and etc. Class halls are being brought back, used as a hub and home for leveling characters and class skin unlocks. Lots of things that are... This falls like this league follows the whole play what you want, but the way that it's being executed here is like we're just gonna drop a bunch of shit that's not interconnected at all, and this is fun, right, boys? Right. Okay, Light's Judgement, the actual leak. Okay, this is very credible. Dragon Owls are fake. Believe this or don't. I believe nothing. The expansion is called Light's Judgement. New 60 to 70 continent is a revamped Lordaeron. It can phase to the old world with bronze dragon NPCs. Appreciate it. New class is Tinker, blockchain. No new race though. Quote, world traits are a new talent tree similar to the old style for open world and legacy content only. The current talents still exist. I feel like I've read this before. Or maybe I've just read this whole world thing too much. Big new feature, world events. Wow, brand new. It can take place in some revamped Eastern Kingdom and Kalimdor zones. Okay, how is this a big new feature, leaker? Pre-expansion story. Scourge is rampant on Azeroth, especially in Lordaeron. There's no reasonable solution in sight without a Lich King. Turalyon decides Azeroth must be cleansed, starting with Lordaeron, by wiping out all undead and horde, and reclaiming the land, eventually uniting Azeroth under the light. Okay, so I know that Turalyon's old school and all that, you know, First War, Second War, vet and all that. But, I mean, even he's seen, and, you know, even the events, like the events of Legion have shown that there are a lot of good folks. The events of Before the Storm, they've even shown Turalyon that, hey, some of these folks, you know, not my favorite, but hey, some of them are all, you know, some of them can be all right. Oh well. Turalyon is visited by a Naru who recruits Yrel and her army to help him. Draenor is already conquered. Turalyon is rejected by the Alliance and leaves with his supporters, including most of the existing Army of the Light. What about like the Lightforged peoples and all that? Yrel and her army arrive in a massive ship called the Lightforge, fitted with a laser that fires a giant beam of light downwards. The beam pulses energy outwards towards the land, destroying Lesser Scourge and purifying the land. The pre-expansion storyline focuses on repelling the combined Army of the Light across the Eastern Kingdoms, pushing towards Lordaeron from the south. We're helped by different forces in different zones, including the Ebon Blade, the Silver Hand, and the Emerald Dragonflight, which wants to undo light corruption in different areas. Just the Emerald Dragonflight? And isn't it a bad idea? Yes, giant dragons flying towards you. And Turalyon is like, fire the laser. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea. A cinematic. Ew. The big expansion cinematic is a meeting? That's boring. The big expansion cinematic is a meeting in the Stormwind Throne where Turalyon demands that Anduin and Genn support his campaign, which says high-res Turalyon with glowy everything, right? Anduin and Genn strongly oppose. They argue. Turalyon condescendingly says that Genn should understand after what the undead did to Gilneas and his son. Genn is enraged. Why is he enraged? Why does Turalyon... So apparently he's just triggered by that. So triggered that Genn sees red and attacks Turalyon, but is overpowered and seriously injured. Anduin and Turalyon fight. Anduin loses his temper and uses shadow magic to overpower Turalyon. Turalyon retreats, commenting that Anduin has forsaken the light and is unfit to rule, and that the unification of Azeroth will begin soon. Flash forward to the Plaguelands as the Lightforge ascends and begins its purification. Well, you know what's kind of a problem if Anduin ain't there? Zones in order. Erethdor, Arathi Highlands plus the Hinterlands. Wow, they just like merge them into one zone? That's kind of a big zone. Well, anyway. Wildhammer Dwarves and Reventusk Trolls versus the Stromguard humans. Wow, the Trolls and the Dwarves, they decided to work together. Odd. Then there's Gilneas with Silverpine, Hillsbrad, and Runes of Gilneas. The Bloodfang Pack versus the Army of the Light advancing towards Silverpine. Revamped Gilneas is the expansion's main alliance city. The Eastwheel, Western and Eastern Plaguelands, almost totally purified to the point of being light corrupted. Ooh, so everything's all crystal and pretty. The Lightforge floats above the center of the zone. Silverhand and Ebon Blade versus the Lightbound and Scarlet Crusade. That'd be interesting, actually. Quel'Thalas with Eversong Woods in the Ghostlands. The Lightbound purifying Ghostlands and pushing towards Silvermoon. Revamped Silvermoon is the main Horde city. Yay! That is a little bit odd, though, tactically, right? Because if you have Western and Eastern Plaguelands where the... I guess the way that they're painting it, like, the Western and Eastern Plaguelands are very firmly Lightforged territory, and they're pushing north and south, I guess. Tirisfal Glades, though, is the max level zone. So, shoot, where is it? So the Lightforge is, as far as I'm concerned, the Lightforge is like, boss level shit. But Tirisfal is the max level zone. Suramar, like, heavy story zone. Cleanse Lordaeron is held by Turalyon and is now an active city. There are some quests to go to uncover there. Scarlet Crusade is active here. Revamped Scarlet Monastery is the first raid of the expansion. I gotta say, like, if they wanted to try to make Tirisfal Glades into a max level zone, they're gonna have to add a lot of shit to that if they want to make it interesting. You got, what, Brill that was leveled? You've got everything, like, to the north of the Undercity, or the Ruins of Lordaeron, just vaped, right? What's left there that could be turned into, like, some interesting story stuff? I mean, they could build things, obviously, but yeah, that zone just, it doesn't feel like there's enough there, at least not off the top of my head, especially since the whole place is, like, all jacked up. Anyway, gameplay. The Tinker blockchain is a male-wearing agility class using guns and bows, available to every race, not a hero class. Unique class mounts, a mech which can be customized at a dedicated Tinker area in Gilneas and Silvermoon. Lots of unlockable options. That's odd. Why is Silvermoon home to a bunch of Tinkers? But I guess, there's war. Things happen and all that. Tinker specs are Mechgineer is a tank, Sapper as ranged DPS, and Medic is a healer. Mechgineers, is it a soft G or a hard G? It's just like a GIF sort of problem. Anyway, the tanks fight inside their customized mech rather than using the weapon directly. Sappers use lots of explosives, including mini-bots, drones, nice. Medics have a lot of DPS capability, but have healing bots, healing grenades, and etc. World traits are class-specific. The tree looks similar to the artifact tree from Legion, which is not a tree, it's just a jacked up, path that you eventually fill out. You get trait points as you level up and get enough to have every trait at the maximum rank at level 70. Wait, what's the point then? If world traits are a thing that you get while leveling, and you get every trait at the maximum rank at 70, aren't those just leveling perks? Right? That's all it is. It's just a it's just like leveling. You get stuff out of it. It's like Draenor. You got like the little perks, or like anything else. So that seems kind of pointless. World traits are focused on fun mechanics that make open world and legacy content more enjoyable. Sell me on this. Some are lifted from Torghast and other sources like Shaman's Deep Tremor Stone, Death Knight's Horseman's Call, and etc. World events are inspired by Legion and Battle for Azeroth assault events, as well as BFA, Arathi, and Darkshore. Much more expansive, interesting. Wow, here's a feature. It's interesting. And varied than past iterations with lots of cosmetic rewards. Okay, so they're going to have AI controlled. So I'm thinking of like Arathi, Stromguard and Darkshore. I think you meant to say Stromguard. So there's going to be like AI controlled stuff. We're going to be able to build things and send it, and NPCs will like be sent down to a thing. I need more. Yeah, Leaker. I need something more exciting than it's going to be more expansive and interesting and varied. Wow. The revamped world event zones at launch are Duskwood, Burning Steps, Mount Hyjal, and Tanaris. So they're doing 4 warfronts at once, where we barely got 2 during Battle for Azeroth. All right. All of them have important plot relevance. More zones are planned to be revamped and supported in future patches. Elven Forest and Durotar and their cities are also visually revamped, but do not have world events. That sounds like a small bullet point, for saying, "Oh, we're gonna redo the main faction capitals, and we're gonna revamp that shit." No borrowed power. Great Vault is gone. Bonus roll tokens are back, and the Valor point system has been expanded to raids. This is a person who does not do PvP or dungeons. Because how are you gonna have that just be gone? And, how do you have the Great Vault and Mythic Plus without a chest, without even talking about the chest? I was told about some other random stuff like dungeon and etc., but I don't want to write too much more right now, so I'd talk about more, but I don't want to write too much more right now, so enjoy. What a jackass. You got a 2 as well. Get out of here. This is from Putty Pounce, an April 19th Tinker blockchain reveal. 24 days until Tinker reveal by Blizzard. They have been investing an enormous amount of time from their animation and art teams into creating unique racial animations for the class. They see this as a love letter to the most wildly popular new class request. Not even... Fuck the expansion. Let's just talk about Tinkers, alright? That's... You know what? Fine. I'll take that. Alliance. Gnomes are going to use gnomish tech, duh. Dark Iron Dwarves, Dark Iron type tech. Think the drills and the BRD golems. Draenei, alien crystal tech. You've seen the golems non-closed parentheses. So I guess he's just talking about what sort, kind of like how shaman totems have a certain vibe to it, how druids have a certain vibe, depending on the race. Tinkers are, I guess, going to have their own sort of thing too. Goblins are going to have standard. Wow. Sorry, goblins. You're basic bitches. Standard goblin shredder type tech. Mag'har orcs will get Iron Horde tech. It looks really good. This person plays Horde, I presume. And Blood Elf are going to get Netherstorm Blood Elf type tech. Would Blood Elves get it? I mean, goblins I definitely get. I don't know, Mag'har orcs, or just orcs period, because I mean orcs are capable of doing their own Iron Horde tech, but Blood Elves, I don't know, off the top of my head I can't think of another race that would be better, but it doesn't quite nail it for me. But oh, it's a male and intellect class. 3 specs. Enforcer is a tank, battlesuit cooldown with each race having a customized suit. Ooh. Tank mechanic is built around a shield capacitor with a focus on building large absorb shields to differentiate from other tanks. Sorry, Death Knights. Sorry, Druids. Sorry pretty much every tank. Because every tank can do a lot of absorb stuff, or healy stuff, anyway. The Alchemist is a healer. The spec plays most similar to how Miss Pandaria and Mistweaver played, which, I don't know. There's a focus on self-spreading HOTS and self-spreading dots. Really cool visuals. The Engineer is a ranged DPS. I don't want to spoil... What? This is... Ooh. That's infuriating. I don't want to spoil it. This is a leak. This is leak season. I don't want to spoil it, but you guys are going to love it. Get the fuck out of here, dude. All these archetypes have been explored in WoW. The team has a ton of art direction to pull from, and they are really excited about how this class came together. He came back to edit. 23 days, guys. Go home, dude. Go home. Nameless Man created World of Warcraft Soul of the Gods. Not Dragon Isles. Instead, a series of islands on the other side of Azeroth. These new islands are supposed to rival Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdom in size, the biggest, quote, continent since launch. New player leveling will start here too. I don't know how this part works. You know what sounds really good, man? Let's let the leveling start there too. And then their buddy was like, oh, so how's that gonna happen? And he's like, I don't know. Story is a soft rebooter. The story is a soft rebooter something. Player housing blockchain introduced in rebuilt Stratholme as Horde and Dire Mall for Alliance? Wait, how does that make sense? Okay, this dude is high. Player housing introduced in Stratholme for the Horde and Dire Mall. I think he just mixed it up. He just went backwards. I think that's all it was. Or it's not. Dude, what if the Horde lived in the human houses, dude? And what if the Alliance lived in the Dire Mall houses? The level cap staying at 60, players are squished to 50 again. You know, I think I'm going to do a video on that. I'm very curious on how that's going to work with a new expansion. But anyway, small overhaul of the talent tree. Now there's small incremental talents in between the abilities at 15, 30, and 45 minutes. You know, I talked about that once upon a time where I said, hey, instead of having like a talent thing, let's have, you know, some of the most iconic signature abilities that we've seen for classes, just give those like little talents, so that way they can like modify those, and in future expansions they can just add more customization to give sort of a kind of parallel a horizontal sort of progression. That'd be kind of cool. So this dude's hella high, but I'm still gonna give this a 2 because it's not the worst. The ones previous to this were just worse. Matahari22 says, I risked death to bring this X-Pack truth to you. First, this report was given to me firsthand by an individual close enough to the new expansion and that has developer knowledge and is, quote, in the know. So is there a difference between developer knowledge and being in the know? Maybe. They gave me verbal bullet points and I was able to view a screenshot and some digital art to confirm, and then I was literally walked outside and walked a distance to a park. It felt like some weird spy shit. I totally understood. I didn't. Okay, here goes. This is what I could remember. Dragon Isle leaks are a bunk - sort of. It is a new area on Azeroth to be utilized and there are quests. Okay. Zereth Mortis is like the Hedron So Collider, and actions from Shadowlands send forth another Big Bang and creates another version of the multiverse, which we will move through to a new Titan egg named Kithdrum or Cathdrum. What? This went... You know, we were starting like, okay, it's a thing, and then, whoo, where did we go? Also, time back on Azeroth is fast forward by 10 years. So new multiverse planets appear. There's a time skip somehow. 10 years. I thought the other dude was high. This was, wow. Okay, weird Alliance and Horde changes. Basically, any not original faction can choose to go Horde or Alliance. Basically, any not original faction. So, Orcs and Humans can't move, I guess. But Maghar Orcs can. Don't like that? Wait, what? Oh, you didn't like that? Well, Horde and Alliance OGs can go neutral and fight both factions as a traitor or a previous enemy. I liked this idea. Okay. Old WoW content is wiped. Wow. This is... Oh, man. We basically start new with this expansion, and old contact can only be revisited on permanent classic servers, including most old dungeons. Like Dead Mines is gone, but inhabited by monsters. Wailing Caverns is kind of the same. I couldn't remember the others. So it's like an old school Cataclysm where The previous world, you just can't access anymore. There's no bronze dragons. The WoW team was like, hey dudes, we got this cool bronze dragon thing where we can keep the layers of the thing. Oh, by the way, the new expansion, yeah, F that, it's gone. We're just gonna, you know, no turning back. There are a lot of new dungeons. Revelation, okay. A new battleground like hide and seek. Not sure what this means. It is inside though, not outdoors. So basically hide and seek. Have fun with like all the rogues and druids and all them. Bards said they've been working on this as melee, ranged, and this should have been point number 1. What was point number 1? Just dragging out the zones or whatever? Yeah, this is all random crap. But then they get to like number 9. Oh yeah, new class, Bard. Undercity is redone. Wow. You know, this doesn't feel so exciting knowing that old WoW content is wiped and there's like new planets with continents and stuff. They said a bunch of other things too in about the time of 15 minutes, and I'll get out if someone wants to ask questions. Something Cosmos or Doom or you know, if you're leaking or if you're trying to get a leak, you probably want to have like a like your cell phone on with like a recording if they let you have your phone on you, so that you don't have to try to remember this kind of garbage. First A has World of Warcraft: The First Awakens God - next expansion. 3 new races. One is an ogre / troll-like race. Then extinct bird people. Other is neutral underground elemental race. So one is an ogre / troll-like race. So I'm thinking of like those big old honking, you know, those giant trolls that are shaped like, you know, those giant orcs from like Warlords or whatever. Or ogres and trolls made babies, which is, hey, love is love, right? Extinct bird people is interesting because they're extinct. And so, are they really a thing? Or are they simply endangered? And then neutral underground elemental race, yeah, that's really inspiring. New class, Chronomancer. Time-based with new order magic. One spec, but big customization. Oh, that's an interesting approach, actually. Now, I don't know how that's going to work, because it's going to be like its own... Yeah, that'd be weird. So it sounds like it would have to be a pure DPS sort of thing. You know, if you only have one spec, then you can only queue as one spec. Unless you want to scope creep and then maybe, I don't know. So, story is about Azeroth's history. We visit world before the old gods and titans arrived. Excuse me. So this is like a time travel-y, primordial Azeroth. We find a slumbering ancient known as Azelio. It is the key to healing Azeroth. So why? No borrowed power. Redesign talent trees with one tree for all 3 specs. Okay, never mind what was cool about a Chronomancer. Just F everything. We're remaking WoW. This should be like point number 1. Redesign talent trees with one tree for all 3. That's a big deal, to be honest. If they wanted to go the route, if they wanted to walk back and go back to putting in points that eventually create your specialization, which is cool. I did enjoy that for its time, but class skins, and I think that's the new blockchain. Class skins, steampunk rogue, blue fire mage, primordial hunter, blood / dark paladin. Steampunk rogue, blue fire mage. It's like, we have a new class skin, guys. Mages get blue fire. They're like, oh man, what else do we get? Nothing. Oh, okay. But you get a new class that's like a mage, but then it's not a mage, so what's the point then? New mode, Survivor's Glory. You enter a hostile primitive jungle with up to 80 people. Battle Royale, but with Torghast-like powers. That bitch is gonna lag like a motherfucker, dude. That does sound kind of interesting, though. Kind of interesting. An 80-man battleground where there are no teams, I hope. Yeah, there are no teams, and the objective is basically play as a rogue and wait. That's the deal. Or be a tank, I guess. They tend to make it through. Winds of Andanor, which is the title of the thing. Okay, Winds of Andanor. Let's go. Level to 70. New class, Warden. 2 specs, Torment and Pursuit, which is tank and DPS. More character customization made available with a height slider and other body modifications. A height slider, yay! Wait, so how come the height slider is like the thing that they mentioned specifically and the other body modifications like they don't? Like, you know what people want, or at least you know what the men want. Oops. But new continent, Andanor. A continent called Andanor is discovered on the far side of Azeroth. Night Elves reached the shores of Andanor thousands of years ago and have since prospered here in isolation, owing to the powers they discovered in the lost Titan facility of Uldoris, located in the heart of Andanor. These former Night Elves, the Enlightened, didn't we just had an expansion? Or we just had a patch with an Enlightened faction. Don't give us another one, dude. Or the Daldori are much more technologically advanced than their Night Elf cousins and worship the Titans in lieu of Elune. Then they're not called Night Elves. Okay, well, because obviously they're called Daldori. You're so smart, Soul. Okay. Endgame progression is Ancient Insight. It allows you to discover more secrets and additional content on Andanor as you progress through your talent tree by helping the locals. These range from randomly generated caves to puzzles and dangerous battle encounters. There's also a new type of socket tied to this mechanism. And he forgot to type out the rest, I think. Tyrande reaches out to the Red Star and is contacted by a Daldori ambassador who offers to help heal Teldrassil in exchange for something of hers. Tyrande accepts and voyages to Andanor alone. However, the presence of a new continent can't stay secret for long, and soon other races and expeditions are forming their own fleets to reach this new, mystical land. Some as peaceful explorers, others as opportunists. This was a safe one. This is a very safe approach. The warden thing... Now, I don't see a point of having a warden. That doesn't seem to make sense in the context of this expansion. The Warden, as it's named, is meant to be someone who watches a prisoner of some sort, or a group of prisoners. There are no prisoners here, so why have a Warden, I guess? Yeah, otherwise they don't really mention much, which helps give credence to this link. So interesting that they made the Red Star mean something, because the Red Star happened after the events of Legion. So we presume that what's there is well, we don't know what's there. We don't know what it was. Yeah, that's kind of a mystery, because it could have been Argus and his red soul and how he got just smashed into the Arbiter and all that, but then it's still up there, so it's hard to say. This one's not bad, though. This one gets a high 2. Clinical Sage simply labels this as 10.0. The expansion is in the South Seas, zones broken up between 3 very large islands. Boats are the primary method of transportation between the islands, and flying will be purchasable. Then why have the boat if flying will be purchasable? Then boats are not going to be the primary method of transportation between islands. They will simply be the whack-ass first method of transportation before we get flying, and then we can actually play the game. The level cap is 70 with 2 new talent rows and additional skill ranks. Safe. Launch rate is heavily influenced by pirates, which is awesome. Tanaris revamped with Gadgetzan centered as a main hub with lots of side content. Gadgetzan Arena as endgame system. Loads more glyphs and will fight Nosdormu. Gadgetzan Arena as an endgame sort of thing? Okay, that doesn't sound very interesting. Because I remember what the Gadgetzan Arena looks like. Even if there's a big revamp, it's still just like an arena. So I'm thinking to myself, something along the lines of Brawl is good. Like, would that be very interesting? Nah, not really. We have like no premise, no plot here. Which I guess wouldn't be so bad. There's a lot of us out there who are like, oh man, I'd love to have a WoW expansion where we don't have to worry about this and this and this. We don't have to worry about a big bad, the end of everything. Well, then again, we're fighting Nosdormu. And that's kind of out there now. Now that I'm really thinking about this. Spoilers, 10.0's, this is from True Horde. 10.0's theme heard from a reliable Chinese friend. Oh. So because they're Chinese, that makes it credible. Why not just a reliable friend? Sheesh. Some people are so weird. Anyway, he can't say much. Just let me pay attention to these. Afterlives, Revendreth, quote, I will lead us all into a brighter future, says Sire Denathrius. I remember him saying something like that. Yes, okay. Save the date, dash the future of Warcraft, March 15th, 2022. It's the 30th, bro. Oh, this is a reference to, okay. The quote, the future of Warcraft is bright, says John Haidt, General Manager of Warcraft. So he said this March 15th. However, he completely denied the dragon expansion. Dragons are too old-fashioned. Okay, so the future of Warcraft is bright. Oh, he just straight up says it. Okay. He says the future of Warcraft is bright. That's it. To me, that's just kind of a, hey, dude, I thought, I pulled up a word and I found a coincidence. Let's just open this guy up and see how far it goes. It doesn't go that far. This is an attempt to try and, make that connection or so. But that's it. I don't think that what John Haidt said was much of a hint at all. Nice try, though. Next we have from Ouroboros, World of Warcraft 10.0 leaks. Let's go. Many leaks have been going around lately about next expansion being revolved around dragons. And despite many of them being proven wrong, there's a great degree of truth in them. According to some reliable sources, next expansion does involve dragons, the Void, and Elune, because we're running out of stuff. World of Warcraft: Infinite Times. Setting: Azeroth. Somewhat predictable. Story: time flows differently in the Shadowlands. Oh god, that again? Dude, leakers. How many times do you need to learn that lesson? That the whole timey-wimey thing is not happening. I hope I want to be wrong on this. At this point, I want to be wrong about this, and I want to just get slapped by the next expansion reveal. It's like, now remember, today's the 30th. We've seen the end of the Shadowlands story. I would love to see, like, oh yeah, by the way, when all the faction leaders came through into the Shadowlands to witness the final judgment of Sylvanas, time happened to go by really fast at some point, and then all of a sudden we come back and like everything's gone to shit. So, and we've also seen in 9.2.5 that we return to Azeroth and we start doing stuff already. He straight up says our time in the Shadowlands is merely weeks on Azeroth. So again, I gotta say, like, especially because I've been playing more of the game, Ember Court stuff, like all these things. We return to Azeroth multiple times throughout the events of Shadowlands. Whenever you see, or whenever you hear someone talk about, dude, the time flows differently, man, what if we come back and blah, 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 that is a clear sign that the person saying that hasn't really played the game. They get on, they leveled up, they stop playing because time gating or something, And then they just talk shit, and now here they are trying to drum up some leaks. But I'm gonna keep going, so I can just tear into this some more for fun. Anyway, so we return to fix some of the chaos we left behind. The expansion starts by the player character receiving a summon from his faction leader informing you that the Horde and Alliance are preparing a peace summit during which Sylvanas is to be tried for her crimes. When was this? This was 320. Oh, this was 10 days ago. Oh, man. Well, this turned out to be wrong. For Sylvanas is to be tried for her crimes. However, before the summit, you are needed to help with some issues. This is why the final chapter of 9.2 was removed. Yeah, this didn't age well. The first 3 levels, the story is race dependent, and some races share the same story. Blood Elves, Nightborn, and Void Elves are working on resolving their issues and restoring Quel'Thalas and rebuilding Silvermoon. This is the occasion to revamp Quel'Thalas and integrate it into the world map. Void Elves can visit Silvermoon and become neutral once they are there, okay? Night Elves and Forsaken story revolves around finding a new home to settle. Mount Hyjal and Ashenvale for the Night Elves, Eastern and Western Plaguelands for Forsaken. They are being helped by Kalia and the Tauren Shaman and Druids. Orcs and Maghar and Goblins. Orgrimmar is expanding, and new walls are being built near Thunderwatch, Razorwind Canyon, and Blade Fist Bay. So it's moving outwards. That's cool. Oh, so map-wise, it's kind of pushing towards the east, I guess. You know, what would be cool is if they just open up all that underground shit, too. That'd be pretty sweet. Trolls, Zandalari, and Volpyra. Zandalar is united, but the threat of the Blood Trolls and Sethrak is not over. I don't know, I played a thing not too long ago with Ameni, and she, like, slaughtered dudes, but oh well. Tauren and High Mountain Tauren, despite the defeat of the Zoth, the last of the old gods on Azeroth, Ebonhorn is haunted by dreams of corruption. He enlists your help to investigate the source of this corruption. This questline takes you across Silithus, Ulduar, and Nazjatar. That's just kind of a cool questline that I'd love to see. And where's Rathian on this? It's like, hey Rathian, you want to help me out? You know, make me a cloak or something like that? Dwarves and Dark Iron, Mechanomes and Gnomes. During our time in the Shadowlands, Magni went missing. Who went missing? Moira and the Dwarven Council recruit you to join Bran Bronzebeard to follow his tracks. This is the same as the Tauren questline. You know, at the end of Shadowlands, we saw a whole bunch of faction leaders. It kind of sucks that we didn't see Magni. It's like, hey, dude, just wanna drop in. They had some weird characters in there, but not Bran. Oh well. Humans, Worgen, and Kultirans. The fallout from the Fourth War hit the humans the most. Hunger and poverty are higher than ever, and common people are angry with those in power. New and old criminal syndicates are on the rise. Upon your return, King Anduin Wrynn enlists your help to parley with the Kultirans and to bring peace back to his kingdom. Upon your return, so he enlists your help to parley with the Kultirans to bring peace back to his... Wait, why are you parlaying with the Kultirans? Like, are the Kultirans causing problems or what? Weird. Draenei and Lightforged. After the discovery that the Dreadlords were agents of death and working for Denathrius and the Jailer all along, Luthraxian has to prove where his loyalties belong or face harsh judgment. That'd be cool to check out now that we know what we know. Yeah. During each of these questlines, you'll come across different schemes by agents of the infinite Dragonflight. The rest of the leveling story is shared by all races. Once you finish your race-specific storyline, you are summoned by your faction's council, informing you of the pending peace summit, which will include the trials of... Wow, so it's taking that long to get to this, huh? Alright. On the Alliance side, you're... Do I really want to go on with this, knowing that this just didn't happen? It's fan fiction, so let's go. On the Alliance side, you arrive in the middle of an argument where Gwen... or Gien is requesting that Sylvanas be executed by the Alliance for her crimes, while Anduin is arguing that Sylvanas should be tried in public since she was wronged more than the Alliance alone. After the meeting, you are approached by a Worgen NPC telling you that a group of Worgen and Night Elves are planning to infiltrate Sylvanas' cell and kill her. You can either Accept to join them, or refuse and be ambushed by a group of cloaked worgen and night elves. If you refuse, you are prompted to report this to Anduin, who enlists your help with securing Sylvanas until the day of the trial. On the Horde side, you arrive to council discussing the fact that news has come that a faction of the Alliance is yada yada yada, where Bane argues that it would be better for everyone is that they do that, and she should have been executed when she was captured in the Shadowlands. After the meeting, you are approached by a Forsaken NPC telling you that a group of Sylvanas loyalists are trying to break her out. This is the mirror. It's okay, it's kind of the same thing. Whatever your choice is, you play a scenario taking place on the eve of the summit, during which you try to infiltrate the Night Elves' barrow dens to find out that Sylvanas is not there. Then you infiltrate the vault of the Wardens and the stockades, only to find out that Sylvanas has already been moved to the trial location in the Arathi Highlands and being kept in Stromgarde. If you choose to kill Sylvanas, when you arrive at Stromgarde, you confront her and fight with her until a group of Horde arrives to help her, and then you run away. If you choose to free her, you arrive to Stromgarde to find her fighting a group of Alliance. You assist and so what? He's trying to think this so through. You tell her that you are still loyal to her, Hala, and that you are to free her. She refuses and tells you that you should leave and let justice take its course. If you choose neither throughout the scenario, you fight groups of captives that infiltrators set free during their infiltrations, and when you arrive to Stromgarde, you will find Sylvanas having her discussion with the loyalist group before they flee. After this, you attend the trial where you get to play as Sylvanas during some of her most iconic lore moments. So this is what, I guess this is what we were talking about earlier, when we could have gotten like more context that don't need a whole novel to be written around it. That this could have been a bit more interactive. So this is actually kind of a cool approach. So I want to read this. So her death and the fall of Quel'Thalas, you play through that. Her freeing the Forsaken and killing the Dreadlords. Her ambushing Arthas, throwing herself off the top of Icecrown Citadel. That sounds very triggering, actually. I don't think, that's not very thoughtful. That I would be opposed to. Her meeting the Jailer, fighting on the Broken Shore, fighting with Malfurion during Teldrassil, her discussions with Anduin and Torghast, which is the whole book. After reliving all these memories, Sylvanas is tried where Tyrande and Bane play the accusers, and Anduin and Alleria play defense. Alleria is then sentenced to 1,000 years of imprisonment inside a void rift. Oh, that would kind of suck. At this time, the Peace Summit is attacked by a group of infinite dragons. After you fight them, you're asked to go to see Alexstrasza to investigate these attacks by the Infinites. Great. So it didn't even matter. And that kind of goes through some of the Sylvanas themes too. Like, one big point from the book, spoiler alert, is that, Sylvanas feels like she's victim of a system at every turn, or that she just sees all these different injustices, like the trial of Garrosh. The way that it's painted to her, the whole thing was a sham, because the August Celestials, they never intended to execute him. They always wanted to find some way of repentance for him, and the whole trial was meant to just kind of highlight everyone else instead. So that's her thing, at least. The remainder of the leveling quest line, wow, I'm getting confused now. Like, we're still leveling. Takes place in Dragonblight, where you help the different flights push the Infinites' attacks. The last flight you help is the Bronze, where you discover that Nosdormu is stuck in a twisted dream that is draining his soul and splitting his essence between different timelines. You uncover that Infinite's aim is to use the pieces of his soul to open time anomalies from corrupted timelines to bring back the old gods. They're also working on reviving Galakrond to help them tip the scale in their favor. Okay. Dungeons. There will be 8 dungeons. 4 leveling, 4 max level. Cool, this person thought it through. Among those, playing through the... Also, some of these are like kind of playing through stuff. The Fall of Quel'Thalas, the War of Thorns, the Twisted Deeps, the Chamber of the Hearts. Other dungeons are yet to be finalized. Blizzard liked having known lore characters as bosses in raids and dungeons. Some of the expected bosses to see in the dungeons or raids are Gen, Turalion, Thrall, and Bane, among others. Okay. New hero class is the Warden. We're still on this one, right? On the Alliance side, Maiev is reinforcing her army to ensure that yet another prisoner does not slip the Warden's grasp. On the Horde side, some of the risen Night Elves can't continue among the living, so they join the Forsaken, and as a way to prove their worth, they teach those Willets the ways of the Warden. It's a plateware. It's another plateware. Yay. 2 specs, tank and DPS. Weapon of choice are glaives. Ooh, plate, really? Yeah, nah, I would say just go back to mail. Give us mail, please. See, at least this one has like a decent backstory for why a Warden should be around. But not so much for like the remainder of the expansion. I don't know, like it sets it up for like this whole trial and all that stuff, but why keep them around still? Oh well. I can see Warden as a spec, maybe. That's about it. The raid involves jumping into multiple time portals into different corrupted versions of Azeroth and culminating in us fighting Galakrond. That's a little random. Also uncovering that the one behind this invasion is Xal'atath. Also a little random, but that's okay. 10.1 marks the return of Rathian again, who tells us that he found the Dragon Isles and that the only way to heal Nosdormu is to take him there. The story of 10.2 and 10.3 is not fully fledged, but we will be delving deeper into Elune's origins and her relation with the Void. As of now, Xal'atath is expected to be the final boss of the expansion. Holla. Systems. Armor sets are returning. What are armor sets? You mean, if this person is talking about tier, I mean, dude, yeah, not only, well, it's hella fake anyway. The vault is returning. However, if you don't like any of the choices, you can claim a token that allows you to buy a gear item equivalent to the highest item level in your vault. Wait, the vault is returning. However, if you don't like any of the choices, you can claim a token that allows you to buy a gear item equivalent to the highest item level in your vault. So, why would you want anything in the vault? Just take the token. Right? Gear upgrade. Valor points, honor, and conquest points are returning. Cool. Stat transfers. If you get a gear piece with better stats than the one that you're using, are no longer if you get a gear piece with better stats than the one you're using, you're no longer obliged to sacrifice your item level. You can transfer the stat from the lower piece of gear to the higher one for a currency. That's kind of interesting, but that's very, I don't know, that's very gamey. You know, it's to me, it kind of breaks that fourth wall to, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's very much a video game thing. Hey, let's transfer stats and all that stuff. Like, give me like some sort of role play, some magic reason or something that makes this happen. Oh well. Prestige, a renowned-like system. This system offers you some cosmetic items, mounts, and pets, and the highest reward for Season 1 is Player House. Oh, blockchain. You know, that should have been at the top here. In your house, you can create different buildings, such as your own living quarters, stables, food corner with Nomi as your own personal chef/arson. Many decorative items for inside and outside, including gardens, fire pits, arcane structures, weapons to hang on your walls, and many others. Well, too bad this is hella fake. Bummer. I give this one an NA because, well, one, this just happens to be old and I never saw this thing. But yeah, now that we know what we know. World of Warcraft, Fallen Legends - confirmed expansion. Okay, the person's name is literally Leak. So it's gotta be true. Don't know anything outside of what I got told through a third party involved in the upcoming stream announcements. Make sure to bookmark this page for April 19th. Oh, this person is confident. All right. So, first off, we have a time skip for a soft reboot of lore. Half of the faction leaders are replaced with new blood. They're just replaced. Just gone. Bye! No new zones. Just an actual revamp of Kalimdor / Eastern Kingdoms. Much bigger than Cataclysm revamp. I feel like I read this just earlier today. The revamp includes random things like a dam being built in Thousand Needles, Black Rock Mountain erupting and flooding the nearby zones with lava, which sounds kind of cool, new world tree in Stone Talon, Lakeshire tripling in size. Is that like a climate change sort of thing? Why is Lakeshire tripling in size? Maybe that has something to do with a volcanic eruption or something. Outland and Northrend are no longer accessible. Both to be revamped in future updates. I don't know if that means this expansion or next. Wait, just no longer accessible? Like, goodbye Chromie time, goodbye Invincible farming and all that? Well, that's dumb. Story just focuses on the world and its people. Well, what's left of the world and its people. No overarching plot, just stories with the races and dangers of the world. Some horde mode, defense mode thing introduced called the Elemental Plane. Doesn't compel me at all. I don't know if there are new races or classes, but we'll update accordingly if I get new info. Yeah, I'll totally hold my breath and wait for you to come back and give us a follow-up. Next, 10.0 expansion, World of Warcraft, Guardians Primordial. Well met, traveler. As the title reads, this is the next expansion of Blizzard's MMORPG World of Warcraft, Guardians Primordial. I'm a lead member of Blizzard's marketing team. I was in charge of the now sadly canceled BlizzCon 2021, BlizzConline 2022, and the upcoming expansion reveal on April 19th. You know, we know this person's name. I don't know her name. I forgot. Sorry. There is a... Okay, they said a lead member. Right. The person who led live events, which is what they should have labeled themselves, instead of, I'm part of Blizzard's marketing team. So yeah, they're live event people. Anyway. Blizzard plans to reveal the expansion through a series of videos uploaded to the World of Warcraft website and YouTube. These videos will cover a variety of content such as the actual reveal, a deep dive of planned features, a look at the art and design of the expansion, some insight from the story team, and finally the release of their pre-order expansion bundles, which will include a new Emerald Drake mount in the deluxe version. Blizzard has a lot to show off and is keen to make a good first impression. I mean, the way the energy is coming off is great, but it's still a lot of bullshit. A lot of this is like safe and plausible. Now, I don't buy into it being a series of videos that they'll just drop, because they announced this a month in advance, or more than a month in advance. Hey, we're gonna drop something fucking crazy. I doubt that this is gonna be just a series of videos that are uploaded. I think it's going to be shown on stream. It's going to be shown as a stream, and then they will upload those, and and then of course they'll be available on YouTube as the stream progresses. So I definitely see something like that, but it's going to be live. It's going to be live, and my prediction is I still stand by them doing having interviews set up. I don't know if I'll be able to get one this time, but I'll try to. A series of interviews and stuff that are set up afterwards, so that way we can get questions answered. They're going to try to make it feel like a BlizzCon, except there's no one at a convention center this time around. So let's keep going. I'm releasing this leak for two reasons. Oh boy. One, I thought it would be interesting to see how seriously the truth is taken this late into quote leak season, as it is a concept I find intriguing. Cool, Puppet Master. Way to manipulate me. Two, because Blizzard is deciding to go the video route rather than a small live debut with a Q&A section, I spoke up saying that it would be a bad move. Blizzard should allow the community to pose valid questions to their face to be heard, even if it is mostly indignant criticism. This was not received well and eventually led to me being fired. Okay. As one can imagine, after having numerous events planned and cancelled leading up to the reveal in April, I was just a little upset they decided to not only ignore my input, but fire me for it. No, I don't care about the privacy laws protecting their content, and frankly, it'll be hard to track down the one employee out of a substantial number that was let go with contempt. Unfortunately, many in my team were let go for not being seen as valuable, for recommending courses of action that made Blizzard uncomfortable. With that nasty business out of the way, allowed me to introduce World of Warcraft Guardians Primordial. He should have just stuck with the first point. He really should have just stuck with the first point, because yeah, the other one is that's a little cringe. So we got new class, locations, systems, and story elements. Ooh, this one's a doozy. Okay, so this is gonna be kind of a more lengthy go. Okay. The new hero class of Dragon Guard will be the main selling focus of the expansion reveal. The Dragon Guard are a long-forgotten group of dragons from all flights that were sent out amongst the younger races to protect Azeroth. Yeah, they were definitely long forgotten because no one's ever heard of them. After the fall of Deathwing, this group was disbanded because the dragons thought their time as guardians was over. With Azeroth once again on the verge of death, the flights recognized they should never have fully shed their responsibility, but should have instead shared the burden of protecting Azeroth with fellow mortal champions. You are the first of this group's resurgence. You are a dragon who was saved by a mortal friend at the cost of their life. To forever remember them and to repay an impossible debt, you take on their mortal form and aid their people as they have aided you. Harboring the soul of younger mortal, Harboring the soul of younger mortal unlocks much new potential in your power, but it is an uphill battle to remain in control of this new power without falling to madness as those before you. Wait, so some of them have fell to madness or something? Okay. This hero class wears male armor and is open to all races and allied races. Dragon's ability to shapeshift is almost limitless, so all new Dragon Guard are welcome. There are 4 specializations to choose from. The melee DPS Infernal Dragon Guard, who use their fire to ignite their bodies and their enemies while using their power over life to heal their injuries, which is kinda cool. The ranged DPS Runic Dragon Guard, who uses ancient mastery over magic to layer various runic circles and create deadly combinations of attacks to overwhelm their foes. The Healing Lucid Dragon Guard, who will use their mastery over nature and the Emerald Dream to soothe the mind and body of their allies while inflicting their opponents with paralyzing nightmares and poison. Why would they inflict them with nightmares? Isn't that an old god sort of thing? Finally, the tanks are the Temporal Dragon Guard, who use their mastery over time to slow attacks of their foes, reverse time over injuries, and summon familiar aid from alternate realities to protect their allies. That's a cool concept, actually. That feels like a cool concept. All this power comes at a cost to the Dragon Guard, and remaining in control is a struggle that all must fight in order to be of any use to themselves and to Azeroth. So, like, the only problem that I have on this, like, it's not the only problem, but like the main problem I have on this is like the whole premise. It's like, we've never heard of these Dragon Guard things. This group was disbanded because the dragons thought their time as guardians was over. I haven't even seen it begin. Oh, we were a secret Dragon Guard that operates under the highest level of discretion. You know, yeah, no, I don't think so. New locations. The Dragon Guard have a starting zone known as Dedragosis. Can't pronounce it. With an island north of Lordaeron and west of Quel'Thalas. This island serves 2 purposes. First is to not be obvious, apparently, because nobody noticed. The first is to act as a decoy and throw off the scent of the real Dragon Isles, which the aspects forbade anyone to go to. Second is a testing ground for finding a successful way to regularly reproduce and protect any eggs that are laid. Results have been minimal to unsuccessful, and the dragonflights must find a solution soon, or the age of dragons on Azeroth will be over. It's been over. It's been the age of mortals, according to Alex Raza. Come on. The time has come for the world to discover the mysteries of the Dragon Isles. This new continent is located at the base of the world, opposing Northrend. There are 7 new zones to explore on this strange continent. The pine forest of Tiris Rise Ford is a home to Vrykul. Okay, so there are already people living there. Who consider themselves the true descendants of the Titans and view the Dragonflights as insults to the Pantheon's legacy. But they've been there the whole time. Thousands of years, apparently. The untamed wetlands of the Spawn Marsh are a breeding ground for a plethora of undiscovered species. You know, for a person who's on the marketing team, this person could have done way better to, like, use bullet points and separating, like, line breaks and stuff. Anyway. The wise Jinyu have been here for millennia, worshipping the runoff water of the Dragon Isles Mountains, viewing it as holy gifts from the heavens. Any attempt to disturb the rivers is met with extreme hostility. The high island plateau of the Thundering Plains is almost inhospitable to all but the most stoic and crafty of races, like, I don't know, dragons. A group of Tauren and a group of Sethrak have made this place their home. They must learn to work together to overcome a common foe. The blissful autumnal... Yeah, dude, this lack of paragraphs is, like, really tilting me. Dragon is like, why do you think his ass was fired? Maybe this is why you didn't keep your job, buddy. The blissful autumnal island of Ashari Ridge is a place of bad memories for the Dragonflights, for it is here they first attempted to make landfall so many years ago, but were driven out by what? Now the land's history of conflict is set to continue as tensions continue to build between the Alliance forces led by Turallion and his Lightforged and the Horde armies led by Gaera and her Magheart orcs. Yeah! The lush jungle of Cyrocul Cavern. It's a zone called Cyrocul Cavern, and it's a jungle. Okay. Is by all accounts an impossibility in this climate. The jungle itself feels alive and rests on a massive underground cavern of unknown darkness. At the heart of this jungle are the trolls. Man, everyone's here, dude. Trolls, who worship both Loa and Elune under the shade of their gilded world tree Yggdrasil. Bold. Aethernar Crater is a volcanic island off the coast of the Dragon Isles, which is home to a guardian turned adversary. From their fortress in the volcano, he and his 30 tyrants wreak havoc on the denizens of the Dragon Isles and threaten to doom all of Azeroth in the process. Last but not least, the snow-topped mountain range of Lorcan Peaks is a place of mystery and reverence. No mortal in living memory has taken the pilgrimage on the path of the Titans to the peak, and a strange barrier makes it impossible to venture there. All that is known is that pained roars emanate from the seemingly tranquil mountaintops. Wouldn't that also cause like avalanches and shit? And that'd be kind of crazy. Oh well. New systems. There are a ton of new or revised systems in the upcoming expansion, many of which are still in the works and may even be pulled from the table. Here's a brief list of everything planned to come in World of Warcraft: Guardians Primordial. Alright, world update. Blizzard plans to implement a way to gradually update the old world. They will do this by using assaults introduced in the pre-patch to update zones. These changes are meant to be permanent with no Bronze Dragon help and are meant to last for several expansions. Not using Bronze Dragon people sounds odd. Why do that? Time walking revamp. They intend to make time walking a constant feature with new rewards that will merely be more lucrative whenever it's a time walking week. How they intend to determine what dungeons can be done at any given time is still in development. I mean, that's kind of something that I'm hoping for, is that eventually as they, you know, keep going with the whole time walking sort of dealy, they'll just make it like always accessible, but make the rewards like, I don't know, better or something when it's an actual time walking week. Player housing blockchain. With a new world update, Blizzard intends to finally implement a player housing system they've been working on for the last few years. But you're not going to tell me anything about it, marketing person? Okay. Profession revamp. Professions will be heavily involved in player housing construction and decoration. Particular attention is being paid to archaeology based on community feedback. Oh, so that's what was needed. Without archaeology, player housing couldn't happen. You can't have player housing without digging up old shit. Look, I found wood. Anyway, player power. In this expansion, Blizzard intends to try and take successful elements of previous expansions and combine them. Oh boy. Using the Runic Cartographer and the First Forge, players will gather runes by exploring and completing activities. Then bring those runes and materials to the Forge to craft their legendary. It is intended that legendaries are constantly upgraded and worked on so players feel invested in their craft. Right. There's also a system similar to Covenants where players join local groups of dragons called Wings. Each class will get a new ability, but this ability is the only ability available. Wing choice is purely cosmetic and changes the flair of the ability. That's a pretty safe reaction that's come from players as to what they'd like to see in the future with a Covenant-like thing. Pre-patch. For the pre-patch, numerous threats arise that we must push back. After the jailer's attack, Azeroth's soul was weakened. Her now vulnerable anima was absorbed by the remains of Galakron. He has arisen and took over the remnants of the Scourge. He now leads the necrotic dragonflight who works in conjunction with the infinite dragonflight, the Twilight Dragonflight, and the Nightmare Dragonflight to attack Azeroth and Tirith's Falal Glades, Tanaris, the Twilight Islands, and Mount Hyjal respectively. These flights will continuously assault Azeroth while Galakron seeks revenge on Wyrmrest Temple in Northrend, acting as the world boss. So he's not meant to be like a big villain. He's just the biggest motherfucker dragon that we've seen ever, and he's undead. Now, here's the whole thing about her now vulnerable anima. I don't really buy into that. Because we don't quite know the nature of when does anima become a thing? Is anima only a thing after a soul has entered the Shadowlands or after, like, you know, someone died or something like that, and then what's left of them is turned into anima? Is that what that is? And I'm not sure, because this kind of asserts that Azeroth's soul isn't just weakened, girl's dead of sorts. So yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, Galakron, and now let's see. Okay, I got through that part. All right, story elements. Unless it was a description or an explanation, I'm not privy to detailed story elements. That's smart in part of a leaker trying to deceive people. Well done. It was not required to design advertisement slides or posters. That being said, I do know the basic plot after picking up enough info and asking friends and coworkers. The threats of Galakron forces the Dragonflight to unite once more, especially the reformation of the Blues. We join with Rathian, Magni, Mother, and Khadgar to find a way to save Azeroth from a slow death. Particular attention is paid to Sargeras' sword and the threat of the Dreadlords. Eventually, we ask the Dragonflight to show us the real Dragon Isles, not whatever that thing is called, however it's pronounced. They don't know how to get there without all the aspects, so Nozdormu travels in time to see if Deathwing knew how to get there on his own. Nozdormu is successful in finding the information, but is attacked by Deathwing and the old gods, wounding him. Now, I thought that Deathwing was like sealed for all time or something like that. Every version of Deathwing, there was like no way to get to him, like that's it, but oh well, I guess not. The champions, Dragonflights, Rathian, Magni, Mother, and Khadgar all journeyed to the Dragon Isles, were initially met with hostility, but eventually given sanctuary in the Vrykul city of Gateswolf. We learn of the three Primordials, some believed to be some of Azeroth's firstborn, who have not been heard from in some time. Their names are, oh boy, Hermoris, Critias, and Timaeus. Prefer something like just random, like this dick or something. These great dragons lead their 3 broods, known as Wings, to protect the Dragon Isles and Azeroth. Okay, so these are primordial, not just primordials, they're just primordial dragon peoples. The Frightful have many traditions regarding these primordials and the Titans. They say that dude is a colossal drake and a primordial of the earth. One is the world's largest winged serpent, who is a primordial of the sky, and one is the oldest and wisest among her brothers, a dragon who is primordial over the heavens. So it's just a random, like, hey, let's bring up even more ancient things that nobody's known about. Typical. Hermosis is trapped in Cyracule Caverns, battling the great serpent Nidhogg, son of Critias, was, oh boy, all these names, who has burrowed his way into the roots of the gilded world Yggdrasil, driving the local troll population into a frenzy. So now we have bullet points, I'm noticing. So yeah, thanks for figuring it out, marketing leaker person. Critias has fallen into corruption of the Dreadlords and rules from his fortress of Aethernar Crater. His most loyal children, the 30 tyrants, I want to say the dirty tyrants, wreak havoc upon the Dragon Isles and seek to take all of the Titan's power for themselves. Timaeus has not been heard from in eons. From the Lorcan Peaks, the denizens of the Dragon Isles hear roars of pain, but are barred from taking the pilgrimage on the path of the Titans by an unknown force. Wait. He has not been heard from in eons, but people have been able to hear roars of pain for eons, perhaps. But now we haven't heard of him. Oh well. In the player's adventures to aid the Dragon Isles and in turn get the aid of the Primordials and their guarded Titan facilities, Alexstrasza is struck down by Critias in a cinematic titled Death of a Queen and Mother. Huh, I wonder what happens there. This is the last stick that snaps and sends Nosdormu into spiraling madness. He finally turns into Murozond and escapes to break the timeways. A funeral is held for Alexstrasza in a cinematic called Sisters Reunion. You know, this person's learning a lot. For someone who's just asked around, I guess. Funeral is held. This shows Clea and Uther coming to escort Alexstrasza's spirit to Pelagos, where he sends Alexstrasza's soul to Ardenweald and into the waiting arms of Ysera. Alexstrasza had a child who she believed to be the next leader of the Red Dragonflight. We seek this child out and only find an egg. Dude, she's got hella kids, right? Why is it only one is meant to be like special? Rathian is enraged that the Red Dragon would once again dictate the fate of another whelpling. Eventually the egg hatches. It's an unnamed daughter. Alexstrasza's new daughter has heard everything, including Rathian's justifiable rage. She says that while it might be unfair to her, she has now had a chance to change that fate for future generations. Calmed. Why is it a separate bullet point? Calmed, Rathian suggests the daughter's name be Rhea. Everyone is confused because all dragons have unique names, and Rhea is the name of the dragon that forcefully produced him and took him from his real mother. I have no memory of that. Shucks. Rathian also says she sacrificed her own child to save him and did what she thought was necessary to save Azeroth, as they must now do. Though he may never forgive her, he understands now and is grateful he now has a chance to set it all straight. See, this is where we don't need multiple bullet points. It could all be one thing because it's all, related. Yeah, I totally get why he was fired now. Rhea vows to help the Dragonflights and this new daughter so that one day new whelplings might hatch with only the dream of flying above a free Azeroth. We don't know where Murozond went, I'm guessing through time, but Chromis must lead the bronze Dragonflights. She refuses, saying there are plenty of older, wiser bronze dragons for the job, but everyone agrees she has the most skill and is perfect for the job. Fan service. Yeah. Calyx says he will lead this new council of dragonflights, which in turn lead the dragons of Azeroth into a new era. There are 8 new dungeons at launch, 4 off the bat and 4 max level, typical, adding up to 2 initial per zone. The first raid will be storming Critias' fortress in Athanor Crater to either free him or kill him in order to gain control of his Titan facility. With that, this is everything I know about the upcoming expansion, Guardians Primordial. I hope you're excited for the reveal on April 19th. Despite the circumstances behind me leaving Blizzard, I too am excited for the next expansion because I have seen the genuine love the team has poured into this new chapter. The visuals are absolutely stunning too. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for reading. Farewell. And this is weird. This whole attempt of trying to... Yeah, these guys burned me. But I really respect them and blah blah blah, but I'm gonna leak all this stuff about this expansion that obviously the team would prefer people to not know beforehand, because that would be very disrespectful to the game, wouldn't it? But no, it's very conflicting. Maybe this speaks to this leaker person's just oddball personality. And you know, just the very conflicting things that they're doing. But this isn't bad as a leak. I know I was talking smack about like the formatting and all that, but you know, this sounds kind of plausible. This is probably the best one out of these, and I'm glad that this happened to be the best one. The names are awful. I'm not very fond of the names at all. But yeah, this whole thing was definitely a quantity versus quality episode. This happens to be the best one, and that's not saying much, aside from how it's a little plausible, reasonably plausible. But it's also not. I don't know. There's a bit too much. I don't know. Feels like too much dragon focus overall. I myself personally am convinced that we're probably going to see dragons or dragon isles in the next expansion. But the approach is, you know, who knows? It could be like anything. I forgot if this person, if this thing mentioned another class. Maybe there was, and I missed it, and it was like that forgettable. Oh, it was the first thing. And I totally forgot about it. The Dragon Guard class, not bad. You know, the tanky thing, that's being able to slow attacks, that's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to be a feasible thing. A lot of these are like, okay, it sounds cool, but then when I think of like how practical it's going to be, like not so much. I do find it cool. Summon familiar aid from alternate realities to protect their allies. So it'd be cool to see like, you know, random skins of it is going to be cool to see like random alternate tanks, or you know, alternate beings just popping in to like do some stuff. That like visually that sounds like a really cool thing. But overall, this episode, we made it through, folks, and I can't give that time back to you, but we made it. So you can take a look at. I'm going to try to have all the links to these leaks in the description below. Let me know what your favorite was, or just kind of a favorite moment of yours. Again, please, if you don't mind, like the video, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys for the next thing. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.